Hello, my name is Mr. 3Delian and I added the Rick and Morty's portal gun to Minecraft. So before we start, I want to mention that this is a longer in-depth explanation of the Datapack. So if you want to have just a short overview of what the Datapack does, there is a link in the video description, probably the first or the second one, where you can find a YouTube short of the Datapack that just briefly goes over the features, and then you don't have to look at that. So I will explain at the end of the video how you can install the Datapack, so if you're just interested in that part, you can skip to the end and follow that tutorial. Okay, so now let's start. So what I want to go into in this video is also some admin commands. So what we first will do is actually already start to cheat, because I want to explain to you how the creative inventory basically works. So how you as another content creator or a survival player can cheat yourself in those items, because you can't get them out of the creative inventory. There is no way that I can just simply add them like this. And I was thinking about maybe putting something here, but I didn't. Instead, I made something differently. And the way it works is if you type /trigger, it gives you an example trigger that you can choose from. You only can use this one if you're a player that is in creative. So if we are going into survival, I'm no longer able to use this trigger command because I'm not a creative player. The way you can still use this command, however, is if you give yourself the admin tag, which you can do by tag at s@admin. S stands for the player, so you could also give it to another player, but we give it ourselves. And now you're also able to use that command in survival mode. So it's basically telling my Datapack that you're an operator and you're also allowed to use this cheat menu. So if you execute this command now, you can you get a list of all the different menus you can click through. So as an example, click on the page, we can now select that we want to have a portal gun, and then it opens up another tab, and then we can just choose if we want to have a portal gun skin 1, and it should have a portal fluid, and then we get this one. And we can also scroll, so we can scroll up again, click on items, go down and click through the items and give ourselves a broken Coords device. So you can always click, but you can of course re-enter that command again to get those items. What you also can do is go on the Modwinth page of the Rick and Morty's portal gun, and if you scroll down to admin stuff, you can go into the cheat in items tab, and in here you find a whole list of different IDs that I used. So as an example, if we want to have a portal gun with a skin or with a second skin, and we want to have a laser fluid, it would be the ID 29. So what we can also do is we can use this command and add a set argument and then type in 29, and we get the item too. So you can also just take a look at this list and give yourself the item using those IDs. This maybe is useful if you're having a command block that just should give a player a specific item. Then you could just use this command in combination with execute, of course. The second cheaty thing you can do is if you type in /trigger and you are admin, you can trigger the rm do Rick and Morty's do Rick and Morty spawning, which we will go into detail what it does later, but basically there is some random spawning of Rick and Mortys, like there are pillagers and phantoms, and basically I added a game rule so you can disable those ones if you don't like them and you don't want to have them in your world. But if you disable it, it will disable a way of progression in this Datapack, since you will need them to progress. But the way I see it is if you play a survival single player world and you already progressed through it, then you can just choose to disable them if they just annoy you. So now let's take a look on how you progress in the Datapack. So there actually is an in-game tutorial that just tells you basically everything you need to know how to progress in the game in-game using advancements. And the way you get those advancements is by simply punching a tree and making yourself a crafting table, which is also the first thing you need to do to unlock the Minecraft tab. And it also unlocks the Alien Packs tab of the Portal Gun data pack. And you now have your progression. Also, if you have an add-on installed, which is the custom jukebox add-on that I made, then you also get this tab, because if you install this data pack in combination with the Rick and Morty Portal Gun data pack, you can also find custom music discs that you can use and listen to, where most of them were done by the awesome and amazing BartTheBart. So there are actually two routes that we need to follow to progress through the data packs, as you maybe already saw. So there is one where we have to repair a portal gun, and there is one where we need to find a structure. So let's start with the structure. In each custom dimension that this data pack adds, including the overworld, there is a new structure called the laboratory, and we can just find it randomly generated in the world. However, there again is also an admin command for it. So what you could do is you can use locate structure, and you can then use the hashtag HP RM Portal Gun laboratories, as this will select all laboratories. And if you type this in, it will show you the coordinates of the newest laboratory. You can just click on it if you're in creative, of course, and cheats are enabled, and you can teleport yourself to them. And there we have the laboratory. So if we go into it, we should get the advancement that we found the laboratory. So in the laboratory, there are actually 4 barrels, all of them containing unique loot. Also, there is really is a 4th one. It's underneath here. And it just has some bone and rotten flesh loot. But in this barrel, there is always a 100% chance of a liquid capsule to generate in it, which also gives us the second advancement. There is, actually I don't quite remember anymore, but I think a 10% chance that you can even get a second liquid capsule in the second barrel. So that basically concludes everything we can do right now in that route. But it is important that you maybe already search for those laboratories, as you will need those liquid capsules later on, and you probably want to have a bunch of them. But what I would recommend is maybe searching for the laboratories in the custom dimensions, as they generate more frequently there, and in the overworld they are relatively rarely, so you can be happy if you already found one, because you will need at least one liquid capsule to use this data pack. So basically all you can do right now is to wait, because what we now need is actually the random spawning of the Rick and Mortys. But there is also again an admin command that we can use to force spawn it. But basically the way it works is every 11 minutes there is a 20% chance around a player that the portal spawns. And players that are at the same position are combined, so it means that after 11 minutes, there is not a probability that 2 of those portals spawn. It should always be 1 new players. So, yeah, we're not gonna do that. We are not gonna wait for it right now, but it does work. But the way we can force it is by type in function. And this is for the custom jukebox stuff. So you can see custom jukebox admin. We want the portal gun one. So all you have to do is basically start with portal and then it auto completes. And in here we see some game test admin commands. We see some GIF admin commands. But what we are interested is the summon one. And we want to summon the dungeon portal. And now we spawned ourselves a dungeon portal. So there is an evil Rick and there is an evil Morty, which will both attack you. I don't go in survival right now, but just believe me, I'm in a basic villages. But what we can do is we can go through this portal and we get teleported to a unique empty dimension. And if you take a look here, we have a portal gun. This one will regenerate each time a new player enters, but if 2 players enter this dimension, it actually will only spawn 1 portal gun, so you would need to wait until someone picks it up and then walk through here. But basically, if we pick it up, we should get our advancement. The portal comes down and we will get teleported back to spawn. Why back to spawn? Because we haven't slept yet. It will... Okay. It will... It either will teleport you to the coordinates 0, 0? Is it 0, 0? No, to the default spawn, I think. It will either teleport you to the default spawn or to your bed, but you have to sleep in one. And it sadly also does not work if you just right-click it. You actually have to sleep in one. So now the next thing we need to do actually has to do with villagers. We're hopping all over the place, but basically what we need to do is we need to get ourselves a toolsmith, which we can make this one. Oh, that one already is a farmer. That one too. So we don't have villagers that don't have a job here. But yeah, we basically need a toolsmith. So let's cheat one in ourselves. And we need to upgrade this one to the max. I also added an admin command where you can just spawn yourself max level toolsmith in. So we will just take this one. But basically what happens if you level a toolsmith to the max, you get this repair trait. So with the strange little device we found and 8 slime balls, we can go ahead and repair it to a broken portal gun. And as you can see, we have just a little bit of fluid in there that we maybe can use for something. So we just try to right-click the portal gun. And what's that? It is a portal, which we walk through now. Amazing. So, as you saw, we got teleported, and the question is, what is this place we are in? This is the Council of Rigs. It is a custom-built map by dogeguilds that you will use to repair your portal gun and also refill your stuff. So it is a crucial part of the map. It's not just for decorations without a purpose. You actually need to go here quite often if you wanna play with the Datapack. So the first thing we actually want to do is repair our portal gun somehow. So now the question is how? And the tutorial leads us through it. So the way we can repair the portal gun is actually by going to rigs. And if we go to rigs, we have a toolsmith rig here that actually will repair our broken portal gun to a normal portal gun. But there is an advanced machinery and we have no clue where to get it. But actually I do. So you actually need to go here and you have to visit Morty's. And if you go up here, you actually can find Shady Rig. And in here is basically a trading quest. So I traded with him and I got some extra stuff because we actually can use all of those 4 things. But what we want is the best tier one. It's the advanced machinery tier 4 one. And now we can use that to go back to rigs and repair our portal gun. So let's just quickly do that. Boom, boom. And we progressed all the way to here. Shiny white, repair the portal gun. So now we actually somehow managed to get ourselves finally a portal gun. But we still can't use it because I made this Datapack extra complicated. So what we need to do now, and this is why we need a liquid capsule, we actually need to fill the liquid capsule into our portal gun. And the way you do it is by putting the portal gun in your offhand, taking the liquid capsule in your main hand and right clicking. And now we filled it in. We also get an advancement for it because I explained to you here how it works. And it's also the same way if you want to take it out, but instead of right clicking, you shift right click and then you take it out. So normal right click, input, shift right click, and you can take it out. This is how you put the capsule in and out. And yeah, this is how the portal gun works. But now, even if we have a capsule in here, we still can't shoot because, as you can clearly see here, the portal gun still is empty. So how do we fill the portal gun up? In order to fill the portal gun up, we need some portal substance. So we trade ourselves a bit of portal substance. So we have 6, which should be more than enough. And we also get the advancement for it. And the next one tells you basically how you can refill the capsule. So we need to get this portal substance into our liquid capsule. And the way you do it is using this machine, which you can right click, and you see a custom UI here. And you actually can put 3 capsules in here, but you can also just put 1 capsule in here. Doesn't matter where you put it. You can put it here, here, and here. You can't. You can also shift click in here. You can't put it anywhere else, otherwise it plops out. So just don't try that. But yeah, basically what we want to do is we want to fill the capsule up. And how we do it is by putting portal substance in that slot. So if we put 1 portal substance in here, we fill the liquid capsule up 1 stage. And we can actually fill it up 3 stages. And after that, it is completely full. And you can just keep your portal substance in here. So you can store it in here if you want to. So you can have a full stack in here and just come in here and put liquid capsules in here. And the way it works is actually it fills it like this. So first it goes into the first slot, then second slot, and then third slot. So this means if you only have like 3 portal substance here and you have 3 capsules in each slot, then each capsule would get filled 1 level basically. So if you would put 6 in here and you have 3 in here, then it would fill all of them to level 2. If you would only have like 2 capsules in here and you would have 3 portal substance, the first one would have 2 stages and the second one would have 1 stage, if this makes sense. So now we have a full liquid capsule and we actually can put it in the portal gun. And now finally we have a working portal gun and we can use it to use our first to shoot our first portal. And you also see that it takes away 1 fuel because you actually can only shoot 3 portals and then you need to refill it. You can also safely take out the capsule and it saves the state. So now we have 2 portals left and we can put it back in and you see we still have 2 left. So we will go through that portal now. And we got taken to a neat little dimension, which is this. It is 35C. Wow, that's nice. So I'm not gonna explore all the dimensions with you because there are 12 different ones. As you can see here, there's a challenge advancement for visiting all those dimensions. But I will, however, show you how you can go back home because I imagine some of you might even think about going home. So the way to do it is if we take a look at our portal gun, it actually tells us first what kind of fluid is in a portal gun because there are even 3 different types of fluids. There's not just portal fluid. They can also do other stuff with the portal guns. But the main one probably is the portal fluid. And it tells you to where it teleports you, which basically now is random because it is randomized to which dimension you get teleported. If you make a portal and you walk through it, it is randomized to which dimension you get teleported, but I also save it beforehand. So this means if you shoot a portal and your friend walks through the portal with you, you both get teleported to the same dimension. So it actually is decided already when the portal is there and not just teleporting you randomly. So now, how do you get home? Basically, all you need to do is you take the portal gun and you shift right click it to activate it, which is also an advancement. And now, if we take a look at the description, it tells us that it teleports us to the overworld and the council, which basically means it teleports us always a step up, basically. So if you're in a custom dimension and you shoot this portal, what will happen is you will get teleported to your bed or to the world spawn. We maybe should take a quick nap in order for you guys to also see that we can't just sleep in a normal bed. And you only have to sleep in it, like you only have to get the animation and then it is basically saved. And yeah, now if we are in the overworld and we're already home and we activate the portal gun and we now shoot a portal, what it does is in the overworld, it brings us to the council. And if we would activate it again and shoot a portal here, it would take us back to the to our bed. But in the Council of Rigs, you don't actually need to shoot a portal because there are 3 portals here. Each one of those is the same. But you basically can just use this portal to get home. And as I clearly saw now, we spawned at our bed. So this is basically how you can get home. So maybe some of you already wondered themselves what happens if you find a dimension that you actually really like and you don't want to randomly shoot a portal all the time to maybe get lucky and find your dimension again, because maybe you want to build something in it and then you just have to randomly shoot portals in order to get back to your dimension. No, there actually is a way how you can safely go back to your dimension. So what you can do is you can go back to Toolsmith Rig and buy yourself some dimension globes, which are not that expensive. You can buy yourself 16 of those, and those ones are empty. So what you can do with them now is, also I gave myself a creative portal gun which has infinite fuel, which you can give yourself also with the give item, and then you just click creative portal gun and you select the portal gun, and yeah, basically it's just like the portal gun, but it's infinite. So if you want to use that one, go ahead. So if we now go into a dimension and we look what it is. Oh, it's Desert World. And you tell yourself, hey, yeah, I really like this dimension. I want to go back to it. Then all you need to do is drop a dimension globe on the floor. And it stores that dimension in a globe. And it tells you what dimension is in there. And it also has a little texture of the dimension in the globe. And you also can stack multiple at once. That completely works. So you can get yourself a lot of them because they are actually unconsumable items. So each time you use them, you use one. So if you plan on changing dimensions quite often and you often need to travel between your dimension and the overworld, then you probably should make yourself a lot of those globes, but they are not that expensive. So still, how do they work now? In order to show that, we need to go into a different dimension, because it doesn't work if we are in the dimension we want to be in. So I'm not gonna show that dimension much. But basically, all you need to do now is you shoot a portal and you take your dimension globe and shoot it at the portal, and you hear a ding sound, and now you know that if you walk through it, you will be teleported to the dimension you want to be in. So this is actually how you can get back to the dimension you want to be in, because it also doesn't remove the first time randomizer. Basically, I wanted that all dimensions are randomized, and you have, if you want to explore them and find them out, you basically have no way to do that beforehand. So there is no way for you, like from the beginning, where you can just go into Desert World or stuff. You needed to be in that dimension at one point. and then you can save those. So if you play the Datapack, if you start with the Datapack and you get all the resources, what I could recommend is that you get yourself already a lot of dimension globes, and when you start exploring those dimensions, already start with saving them in globes, so you can easily go back to the dimensions you want to be in. I also have to apologize, it's 5:25 a.m. for me right now and I haven't slept and I'm so tired, but I'm trying to make this video now, and it is actually quite a long tutorial video, but I try to keep it short. So I think that basically explains how the whole dimension hopping and traveling works. And now I think we can look into the other stuff that the Datapack adds, like the cosmetic rig as an example. So this one basically sells you different kind of rig heads and Morty heads. They are only for decoration purposes, so there is really no need to get them for anything. But if you, as an example, want, you can get yourself an evil rig head, buy yourself that one and put it on, and now we have evil rig. What you can also buy is Rick's hair, which I really love and added because I was really bored. But yeah, you basically can equip it and then you have Rick's hair on your head. And now probably one of the coolest parts of the Datapack is it also offers skins. Wow. So we basically can buy ourselves some skins, and I had to redo that, and it's not completely perfect. I'm not completely happy, but it was a last time solution. I'm just keeping it this way right now. Maybe I'll change it in the future. So maybe just try not to just be careful when using it. It's not really, I think you can't really break it that much, but it just, you can consume a lot more diamonds than you should. Because as an example, if I would now buy something, I just wasted a diamond, because we even get the information here that buying this item will convert all portal guns in your inventory to a portal gun coin. Portal gun needs to be empty. So if we empty our portal gun and we now buy ourselves a coin, our portal gun was transformed into a portal gun coin. If we would have 9 portal guns in our inventory, would transform all 9 into 9 coins, so you still would only need to spend 1 diamond. And the way I do it this way is because I want players to be able to rename their portal guns. I had to redo like a lot of it, because when I started the portal gun Datapack you couldn't do that, but now you can, and I had to change basically everything. So you can rename your portal gun and it will save that name. You can take out capsules and it will have the same name. You can shoot. So your portal guns, you can you can rename it and it will have that name. But the only downside is that you then couldn't use a renamed portal gun in order to buy yourself this portal gun. So what I did basically was make this system that just converts your portal guns into portal gun coins, and then you can use those coins to buy yourself back a portal gun, and then you can just buy yourself different skins, and you can rebuy yourself the standard portal gun. This is my favorite portal gun. This one I don't really like, but it's also out from the show. But then you could buy yourself, as an example, this really cool portal gun one. And the other one was a creative portal gun, so that's the reason I didn't get my capsule. But cool that I have a cheat inventory where I can just cheat in a fluid. And now we can put it in and just look at how cool that portal gun skin is. Which also completely works the same. It's just a different skin. But everything else works exactly as you would think it works. So there actually is another cool thing to the whole portal gun traveling system, and it is the Coords Device. So we can buy ourselves a broken Coords Device, which I just will cheat in, but we can buy it from Shady Rick, And then we can use this broken Coords device to repair it with the help of Toolsmith Rick, of course. So we can go to him and repair the Coords device. And what it basically does is it saves Coords. So let me show you how it works. So say again, you really love the desert world dimension, you got yourself some dimension globes, and you build yourself a base in that dimension. Now you have a problem, because say you build it really far away, do you always want to go there to find your base? Do you want to save down those Coords and travel a long distance to finally get back to your base? You probably don't want to do that. So that's where the Coords device comes in. So you basically can select yourself a destination you want to save, and you shift right click it, and then it saves your Coords, and it also tells you what Coords it saved. And yeah, you can reuse it, so you can just use it in the overworld too and walk to those Coords, because you actually always get teleported to the exact same Coords. That's also interesting. So if you're in the overworld and you spawn a portal and you walk through the portal, you actually get teleported to the exact same Coords in the different dimension, and they are actually, all of them have the same world generation, so they look familiar. So now, an example, let me just show you what I mean. So if I go through this portal and go into another dimension, maybe you realize that the generation of this mountain and stuff is the same because the world generation is the same. So now I no longer have a creative portal gun, so let me just give myself, let's take skin 2 so you can see that one too. So now what we can do is, say we want to go back to Desert World, and we want to be back in our house. All we need to do is shoot the portal, shoot a dimension globe on it, and right click with the Coords device. And now we can go through and look at that. We spawned in our house. And yeah, we saved those Coords. So it also would work. It just puts the Coords in the portal. So we could also put a portal here. Just save Coords, get random teleported, but we would be at the position of where we save the Coords device. You can, and also resave Coords. So one Coords device is for one-time use. Basically, I mean, it works infinite, so you can use it an infinite amount, but you can only save once. So we can't just reuse it, because that's just not how it works. So now it is actually the next day, because while making the video, I actually did find a bug and I had to fix it, and I already pushed the Datapack out to Modrinth, but I haven't published it yet. So I basically took all versions down and fixed that, and yeah. But now it works, and I hope there aren't that many more bugs, but until now I didn't even know about any bugs. It also was a small bug, but it is fixed now. So we will carry on to another cool gadget, which is the portal placer and the capsule filler, which you can buy from Toolsmith Rick. I don't need to show that to you, I think, but you can just buy them from him. And what they do is they basically replace the portal gun in a really cool way. So the portal placer can be placed in all 4 directions. Also, it gives it back in survival. Doesn't really matter in creative, it's a bit stupid, but that's just of how the system works. You can place it in yourself. Yeah, you just can place it in yourself. So I also made it that you can stack yourself up with them. But yeah, basically what you can do is you can place the portal placer in every direction. And let me make it a day. And yeah, what it does is if we right click on it, we again have a custom GUI, and based on the background images, you kinda can imagine what it does. Now that I look at it, I actually kinda need to update them now, since Minecraft updated their icons a bit, and now they probably no longer fit. But anyways, it has a custom GUI, and all it does is basically it replaces the portal gun, so you can use it with redstone, and it shoots a portal. And it, of course, also consumes 1 liquid, so you could shoot 3 portals, and now you no longer can. And it also has a nice animation if there is fluid in it, because if there is fluid in it, it shows it, and if there is empty fluid in it, it also shows it. So you know if this one is still active. And also I had to manually implement the redstone system, so there are some things that maybe do not work, but I tried to make it as realistic to redstone as it gets. So as example, this would not work. This would not work, but repeaters from every side would work. And also like a button directly to it would work, a lever directly to it would work. But what you could also do is, what I also implemented as a workaround, if there is anything you want to do and it does not work for some reason, you can use redstone lamps, and it detects if a redstone lamp next to it is active. So if you wanna get redstone like this into here, what you could do is something like this. If you need to, like say in vanilla Minecraft, if you would want to power a piston by having a redstone line on top, you could do something like this, and it would activate the piston. But detecting every block here would be a bit stupid, so this behavior would not work. But if you want to get the same thing working, all you basically need to do is put a redstone lamp here, and then it would work. Yeah, so this is a workaround. And yeah, basically it shoots a portal, and it just replaces the portal gun. But don't worry, it's exactly as expensive as a portal gun. So this block is not like easier to get than the portal gun itself. But yeah, no, there is no real but. It's just a replacement. And of course, you can also put your dimension globes in there, and you can also put your Coords Device in there. So what you can do with this is, if you have a base somewhere in another dimension, and you want to build maybe even a hub for all the dimensions there are, you could like make a lot of them in your base, and have a lot of different portals that are just activated using redstone signal. And of course, it also consumes a globe when activated. So now we have 15 in here. And it does not consume the Coords Device, because of course it does also not consume it. So if we go through here, we go into B world, and we come out at those coordinates, which would be on top of this mountain. So quickly check it out. Yeah. Now, as you saw, we are here. And also there is a save system. If you get teleported into places where you can't be, then it breaks the blocks. But it also breaks them with Silk Touch. So you don't accidentally destroy things. So now let's look into what the Capsule Filler does. It's actually a pretty relatively easy to understand block. You can place it somewhere, and it has a radius of, I think, 16 blocks around it. I'm not sure anymore. And I don't tell the player how huge the radius is, which probably is also a bit stupid, but I won't fix it now. But basically it has a radius of, I think, 16 blocks. And what it does is it basically just refills those portal placers if you want to automate this somehow. So, as an example, this one is empty. And if we put liquid capsules in here, and we take this one out, we hear that it was refilled. And now we get them back. So we can put them in here, and it refills. And yeah, it just does this in a radius. So if we place one here and place one here, and we put 3 of those in here, each one of those now should have 1 capsule. So this is how you can automate your refilling of those placers, because you could have a room full of them, you could have one of those in the middle, you could have a hopper pointing into that block, and yeah, that's basically how you can auto refill those. And you can also use a hopper to take out an empty capsule, which there again is a bug. Yeah, I will fix that later, but this should not happen. So that pretty much covers everything the Datapack has. Maybe I forgot some things, but you can figure them out yourself. But there are 2 nice smaller things left that I want to show off, and that's that the portal fluid actually isn't the only thing you can get. There are actually 2 other types of fluids, and it's the laser fluid and it's the mining fluid. Both of them can be bought from Shady Rig, as you probably saw back then. And you can just put them in your portal gun like you would the other fluid. And they are, yeah, not that complicated. I mean, the mining fluid is relatively cool, but the laser fluid, all it basically does is it outputs a relatively high amount of damage, but it's also kind of expensive. Yeah, you have to hit your target too, but in this dimension there are only bees. But it basically can one-hit kill a lot of mobs. It's not using a kill command or anything, it just makes a lot of damage, so it does not instantly kill a wither, but it will take, will give... It will give the wither quite a bit of damage. And the second fluid is the mining fluid, which actually has a bit of a different system, since the mining fluid does not actually consume. Now, instead, if you shoot once, you see this heating meter there, which basically tells you if your portal gun is overheating, because getting this fluid is a bit more expensive, and for what it does, you wouldn't want that fluid to break. So instead of actually consuming, it just has an overheating state. And if you go over that overheating state, so you can choose 3 times, sometimes 4 times, but if you go over that, then it will break, but then it's basically your fault because you didn't keep track. So let's just quickly shoot. Yeah, and as you heard, we broke it, and it also consumes the capsule, so just don't do that. But yeah, it's basically having an overheat meter, which you can see over your hotbar. And what it does is, yeah, it is there for mining, it can fell down trees, and it can mine ores. And there are 2 different stages. So the first one is the fortune one, which is the default state. So it now basically mines everything with fortune 3. And if you shift right click it, then you set it to the silk touch mode. So you can also use it to silk touch your stuff. And I just love it. It's so fun to use. So as an example, you see that whole tree there. Doesn't matter if you're in fortune or in silk touch, but if you just shoot at it, we get all the logs out of the tree. And previously, it also did fell the leaves, but I removed that again because if trees were connected, it just went on, and I wanted to make a different system that stops after some while, but I haven't gotten into it, so I will do it at a later point. But the cool thing about that whole system is that it's really easy for yourself to add stuff into, as it only checks for a text list that I created. So if we press F3 and we look at stuff like this log here, on the right side you can find the tag list portal gun mining laser, And this basically tells the game what blocks are mineable, and it's all ores and it's all log types. And you can just add stuff into that list yourself. So just check out a video about how you can edit tags. But you basically, all you need to do is you need to go into my portal gun, go into the portal gun folder, search for a tags folder, and in the tags folder there should be a file called mining laser, and you open that one up, and it should be relatively self-explaining on how you can add another block. And if you do, you can basically add everything. So you could add a grass block, and then you could just shoot at it and it would go on and destroy stuff. And yeah, that's basically what you could do. So what we also can do with the portal gun is, as I already mentioned it, we can, let's go home. We can mine ores with it. So I just want to quickly show that that works. I don't want to make empty promises. So here we have some ore, and we can fortune it. And we got 1. Yeah, that's relatively unlucky. But here we have more. And we got, yeah, 4. So you see it clearly works. And you can also silk touch your ores. So now you see I silk touched them. So, and I think that's the last thing I want to show you. So this Datapack also adds custom structures to each dimension. So each dimension has some unique custom structures. This example is the bee world, and in there we can find a giant beehive. And in all of those structures we can find chests. Like here we have barrels. And as I already showed you, that you can install a custom jukebox expansion to the alien packs, and if you have this installed, then there is a chance that if you open some of those barrels, that there can be a music disc in it. And yeah, now we got relatively unlucky because it isn't 100% chance, but we can find some. And also, if you want to find the newest structures in those dimensions, what you can do is you can use locate structure and select the nearest structure one. This will show you where the nearest structure in your dimension is. So if we teleport ourselves to some new coordinates and then run the nearest structure command, we should find a new beehive. And maybe we get a bit more lucky this time. Yeah. Can you please stop annoying me? Yeah. And there it is. A music disc. And it is the toy box music disc. So each dimension has a unique soundtrack. Again, made by BartTheBart. So if you travel through those dimensions, maybe consider turning up the music and not being creative, because creative plays other music. So you need to be in survival. And then you can hear those awesome tracks, but you can also just find those tracks that play in those dimensions. So if we now take a jukebox, we place it down, and we put our music disc in there. So now we quickly go over to how you can install everything nicely into your world without ever needing to select any resource pack or anything. And everything just works if you join your world. So what you need to do first is you head to the link in the description and head to the Rick and Morty's Portal Gun Datapack. On there you click on versions and you select the version you want to install. So in my case it is 1.19.4 and it is version 1.0.1. Maybe always select the newest one, but just look at what version you're using. So in my case it's 1.19.4. We click on it and it basically already gives you a download button. So you can just click on that and download it. Then it is in your downloads folder probably. And then it also tells you here the dependencies, and it tells you, hey, there is the custom jukebox one, which is optional, and then there is the alien packs resources, which is required, which is the resource pack. So we go ahead and click on that one since we need it. And yeah, it shows the wrong version here. Need to fix that. But basically, we also select the newest version, which is 1.19.4. And we go ahead and download this one. And here it tells you that all of those are optional because you don't need either of those. But now we go ahead and also download the custom jukebox one, also for 1.19.4. And we go ahead and download it. So now what we need to do is there are two options on how we can run the resource pack. The first one is going into our resource packs folder and just putting it in. So we could just put it in, select it, and we are good to go. But the downside then is that we always have to manually put it in and never take it out, and just remember that if we join our world that we need to have the resource pack. But what we can do is we can actually combine it with a world. So what we first do is we create a new world. We go into the More tab, we go into Datapacks and press Open Datapack folder. And in here, we put both of our Datapacks, which is the Rick and Morty and Custom Jukebox one. So we put those ones in here. And we go back into Minecraft and we select both of them. And we can press Done. You can also choose to select some of those experimental features, but we only are interested in our stuff now. And then we can click on Create New World. So this tells us that the datapack is using experimental settings since custom dimensions are experimental. So keep in mind that it could happen that if you use my datapack, that in the future, in a newer update, you can no longer join your world because there are older files. In that, if that happens, you can just press Save Mode and it will disable my datapack. And you still can't join your world. And if that also doesn't work, then I will create a tutorial on how you can fix that. But basically all we need to do is click yes, and then it will generate the world. So now we are actually in the world, but if we take a look into the advancement, everything is bugged out. And the reason for that is because we again still haven't selected the resource pack yet. So what I said is we actually can just put the resource pack in the resource packs folder and select it here. But what we also can do is we can implement the resource pack in our world. So whenever we join the world, it gets auto applied and it is basically combined with that world, which makes it way better since you don't have to remember to put in your resource pack. And the way you do it is you actually go back out, you select your world, you click on Edit, Open World folder. And all you now need to do is you take your resource pack, you put it in here, and you actually have to rename it. So it needs to be called resources. And if you have named it like this, resources.zip, you can just join your world. And it should auto apply the resource pack whenever you join your world. And now we just join it. And you see that everything works as it should. And if we click on resource packs, we have a world specific resource pack that we can take out. But if we leave the world again, it will auto remove the resource pack. And if we go into resource pack, there's nothing here. So in this way, whenever you just join your single player world, it just auto applies the resource pack. And you can use it, which is way more convenient, I would say. So if you like this video, maybe consider subscribing or checking out my Discord. I hope to see you there again very soon. And have a wonderful day and goodbye.